Hey soldiers, the government has a surprise witness in the Sam Bankman-Fried FTX case. It is not the young lady, Carolyn Ellison, although she will, of course, testify. She has given up the goods in terms of what she knows. But this witness that the government now has is even more impactful than her. Gary Wang, the guy that was the chief technology officer, no, it's not him, although he is also cooperating. The government's star witness against Sam Bankman-Fried is Sam Bankman-Fried. This guy, against the advice of his lawyers, has given out hours worth of interviews to the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, a YouTuber named Tiffany Fong, who has done a great job, by the way, in many respects has done better than the big networks. George Stephanopoulos has, we all know who he is. He has done an interview with Sam Bankman-Fried.
One of the reasons FTX went bankrupt is because FTX deposits were used to pay Alameda's creditors. Carolyn Ellison said you knew about that. Is that true?
Best I can tell, Alameda did have a big position open on FTX. That position, I think, was very over collateralized a year ago. There was a total market collapse, and specifically a large correlated collapse in its assets over the last month, and to some extent over the last year, that threatened that position quite a bit. And I think that's, as best I understand, a lot of what happened there.
I am no cryptocurrency expert, I'm no finance expert, but I don't think you answered my question. I always ask you, did you know that FTX deposits were used to pay off Alameda creditors?
All of that is going to be reviewed, compiled by the government, and used against Sam Bankman-Fried in a court of law. That's why they tell you have the right to remain silent. That's why his lawyers told him he should have closed his trap, but he kept talking. And that first group of lawyers actually fired Sam Bankman-Fried because they knew what an uphill battle it will be. Now he has Rob Cohen. Rob Cohen's two most prominent clients in the last few years have been El Chapo and Ghislaine Maxwell, both of whom are serving lengthy federal prison sentences right now. Okay, here's the thing. This is why you should avail yourself of the right to remain silent. Because when you don't, when you get into a court of law, you don't even have to physically take the stand. Most defendants in cases like this don't take the stand because they open themselves up to cross-examination. Well, this guy is on global platforms just running his mouth, so he's already really quashed his right to remain silent in a way, and he's also removed the benefit of, having his lawyer question him in such a way that may make him look more favorable. These are recordings. So this is another facet of the fuck up that Sam Bankman-Fried has imposed upon himself. But there is actually, now mind you, it's absolutely true that all of that material that he gave to Tiffany Fong, the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and I believe George Stephanopoulos works for ABC News. These primetime interviews, man, crazy stuff, right? Why is this happening? Because Sam Bankman-Fried is a member of that generation, the social media generation that has just got to allocute and be cathartic about every aspect of their lives on social media. They have to have their say. And this guy's no dummy. Look, he tries to play dumb. Oh, I didn't know what was going on. But let's be really, really honest with it. The guy's an MIT grad, physics, okay? He's a smart guy. Look, I'm no MIT physics grad, all right? And I know that if the police come knocking at my door talking about, hey, meet us downtown, we want to ask you some questions. Guess what? May I have a business card? Thank you. And I'm closing the door. then I'm calling an attorney, all right? And I'm not saying a damn thing until or unless the attorney tells me what to say, all right? So he has, and not even Carolyn Ellison did that. She didn't. In fact, she turned down interviews. She declined to speak. She took the advice. Gary Wang was kind of reclusive to begin with. They said they even had a difficulty getting a picture of this guy. But he also decided to exercise his right to remain silent. Now, we're going to get into the most impactful interview he did, okay? The interview that they're going to play at the trial, more than likely, and the one that's going to just, after this testimony comes out, after they play this, Sam Bankman-Fried should just get up from the witness table, approach the bailiff, and say, hey, go ahead and take me to prison. Put me on the bus. Let's just get out of here. It's just a waste of time at this point. The other thing I want to do in this video, remember, a lot of the people who endorsed FTX are now being sued, like Tom Brady, for example. Some of the YouTubers probably are facing legal action for, promoting the service. But there's one person who endorsed FTX who actually told the God's honest truth, and I don't think he should be sued. When you look at it, he might have, the way he did his endorsement might insulate this guy. Hilarious as it is. I'm going to play that ad at the end of this video so you can check it out. But first, let's get into the serious stuff. Now, I told you about Tiffany Fong, George Stephanopoulos, New York Times, Wall Street Journal. There were many others, okay, in there. And, their names escape me. But these are just a handful of the people Sam Bankman-Fried did interviews with. However, there was one that really posed a very critical question to him. And that question surrounded the commingling of funds and whether or not he used funds that customers explicitly stated by signing the terms of service, one set of terms of service, explicitly stated they did not want used for anything other than FTX holding the funds for them, okay? So there were two terms of service, apparently, at FTX. One said, look, we do not have the right to invest your money in any way other than what we have said we would do in terms of just holding on to it. We do not have the right to use it as a part of a leveraged account. And then there was another term of service that said, hey, you are okay with this, and we will use your money to help leverage accounts. That way you can make a little income on the side using your money. This is not uncommon. This is a standard financial practice. But the problem comes in when you have a group of people who say they don't want that, and they explicitly sign a set of terms and conditions stating they don't want that, and then you go ahead and do it anyway. So the YouTuber CoffeeZilla really cut through all of the noise. So much so, I think Sam Bankman-Fried actually, he understands he's been caught with this question. And he gets a little irritated. Here we go.
Hey, Sam, it's me again. I just wanted to ask real quick about the terms of service question, which Recht brought up a little bit. I want to expound on it. Can you just tell us, yes or no, were you treating client assets just on the regular digital asset side different from the margin trading side? Just around that. If it's true that you didn't invest client assets, not even in treasuries, as you said via a now deleted tweet, why do those client assets no longer exist?
So I'm trying to trace through some of this. Here's my best guess, and I wish I could give you a more confident answer, but I don't have the data. But my best guess is basically it's a combination of the following. One piece is the transfer sent directly to Alameda Research from customers. One piece, and that I think is a fairly substantial piece. One piece is
Wait, can you explain what that piece means? So people were sending money to Alameda instead of they were getting credited on FTX, and Alameda just ended up using those funds, and they were never held separately per the terms of service.
Well, there was a separate legal agreement with that. I don't know the details of it. I don't have it in front of me, but there's a separate legal agreement with respect to transfers that were sent directly to Alameda Research by users, especially before FTX had its own bank accounts. And so I do think that is part of what happened there, likely.
Let's focus on only client assets that happened after FTX got a bank. Y'all said digital assets are treated a very specific way. Why were those digital assets not treated that way?
Of hard assets in the
No, is there one-to-one assets? Because that's the whole thing. We're talking about a separation of funds. So those funds should be a completely different, in a different place, in a different wallet than everybody else. What you talked about servicing billions of dollars of withdrawals has nothing to do with those specific digital assets, because that's just first come, first serve, whoever pulled out first. We're talking about people who never agreed to have their funds loaned out, who never agreed to have their funds put on margin. They should have, according to your terms of service, one-to-one backing. It should all still be in some bucket somewhere. And are you confident today, as the CEO of FTX, this has nothing to do with Alameda, are you confident today to say that those are absolutely real and they exist and they're present, people are backed one-to-one on client digital assets?
So I think, and again, I'm just taking a stab here, but I think we wanted to treat customers equally. It was an incredible.
But they had agreed to different things, so you can't treat them equally. I mean, it's like, this is the whole problem of the story of FTX and Alameda, is all the funds were being commingled. Isn't this just another story of commingling funds, except this is now FTX, which you can't pass the blame to Alameda anymore. This is your company, your funds, that you are treating all the clients the same when they clearly signed up to different terms of service.
So I just want to respond to that. And please, I completely respect your question, but you have monopolized all of these discussions, CoffeeZilla. You need to let others speak, and you need to respond to what I'm saying and not grandstand as much here.
Can you imagine the impact if the legacy media would conduct questioning in this fashion? But, hey, FTX was big, powerful, had a lot of friends, and so the legacy media did not act assertively or in an investigatory manner, even though there were people out there like this guy, CoffeeZilla, saying that, hey, something ain't right. Plenty of people were saying that, but, they weren't at the cocktail parties. These are not the type of people that, are in the in crowd, so to speak. So it wasn't until after the fact that the legacy media caught on. Go to CoffeeZilla's YouTube page. You can watch this interview in its entirety. Okay, so I think that's one of the things that Damian Williams over at the Department of Justice, the U.S. Attorney's Office, is going to take a look at and really dig into. Because the other thing about that is it simplifies things. This is something that, everyday people who are not in the finance industry can understand. This doesn't have anything to do with, you're talking about all of these highfalutin financial terms that go right over people's heads. The American public is really not predilected and comfortable with mathematics to begin with. We're talking big numbers. This point about the commingling of funds is something that you can actually internalize and relate to, because when you put your money in a bank, you don't then expect the bank to take your money out and go make super risky bets on it. So, okay, you have a savings account, for example, that that's a demand account. You know that if you put $1,000 in on Tuesday and you need 500 of it out on Thursday, you're able to get it. Okay. You're not going to them and they're saying, oh, well, we invested it over here with something and we're not able to give you your money. Okay. That's the expectation. So if you, for example, invest with that bank in terms of buying shares, that gets a little bit more risky. The expectations are different. So that's something that I think the government is really going to focus on. Sam Bankman-Fried betrayed himself. Okay, that point made by CoffeeZilla seems to be one of irritation for Bankman-Fried that he couldn't really explain, because there's no explanation for it. He put all of the money in one basket, whether they signed one set of terms and conditions or the other, didn't matter. Then they started to play with it. Yeah, so that's where we are now. Larry David. Larry David's a comedian, and I'm going to show you his ad. You'll get a kick out of it. Larry David, I don't know if you can sue Larry David because well, here's the ad.
I call it the wheel.
I don't think so. What does it do?
It rolls.
Yeah, so does a bagel, okay? A bagel you can eat. One of the worst ideas I've ever heard.
Brother David, behold, the fork. I got 10 forks right here, baby. Am I right? My lord?
What is it?
A toilet, my lord.
A toilet? You expect this court to do its business inside? We're not animals. We go outside like humans.
It's coffee. It's new.
Oh, it's awful.
You don't like it?
I'm all jittery and feel like I got a big job coming on.
Hancock, you sign first.
No king! Gentlemen, have you taken leave of your senses?
The people shall have the right to vote.
Even the stupid ones?
Yes.
Stupid people vote?
Yes.
Edison, can I be honest with you? It stinks. Does your wife know what's going on here?
She knows I go to work.
You're wasting your time, and it's sad. You might as well put the dishes in the shower.
Hey, Catherine, what's cooking? We're putting a man on the moon.
Are you out of your mind? I can't even get tuna without celery. Nobody's gone to the moon, ever.
Why not?
It's too far. It's far. It's really far. It's far.
我々の未来はポータブルミュージックです。
バカかバカかわかるだろうわかるだろうわかるだろう出て行け見ないのか怖いんだああバタリがいつも言えるぞバタリどこバタリ
Like I was saying, it's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff. Never. Franklin! Hey, I left my cane in there. What? What do you mean? Hey, that's an expensive cane!
Hilarious. At least I think so. I'm into dry humor. Listen, what Sam Bankman-Fried did was he took advantage of people who are out there trying to advantage themselves financially. Okay. Now, if you want to advantage yourself financially, you may have been thinking about using this app called Rocket Money. We did a review on it. Is it all it's cracked up to be? Is it going to help you become a better steward of your money by, among other things, identifying these recurring charges you have that you may have forgotten about and eliminating them? It does a lot of other things. But look, we do an honest review, give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Check it out. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.